Okay, I am back, and today I wanted to start with Job 1 verses 9. And now this is following God, who says, "Have you considered my servant Job, who is upright and fears God and just loves him," and all that wonderful stuff he says about Job. And then it goes on to verse 9. "Does Job fear God for nothing?" Satan replied. "Have you not put a hedge of protection around him and around his household and everything he has? You you have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." So now remember, curse you doesn't mean, speak profanity. It means he will disconnect, cut himself off, separate from you to your face, like, you're dead to me. And that just ticks me off. That just really ticks me off because it makes me think of, maybe what we do in society. Sometimes we see people who are married and they look kind of unequally yoked. Maybe there's a young, beautiful, by the world standards, woman, trophy wife kind of person, and an older man who's successful and doesn't quite match up attractiveness wise from the world standards, and we're like, yeah, she's just in it for the money, or vice versa. You've got a young man with an older woman, and maybe she has a lot of money, and sometimes I'm sure that does happen. The love of money is a source of a lot of evil, and people do that. But I've known a lot of people who've been questioned or thought of that way that truly weren't. They really did love each other. And in this scenario, you hear Job's love for God being questioned, and what an awful insinuation to think that maybe someone who you believed adores you is not really in it for who you are and for the relationship that they have with you. They're in it for your possessions or your blessings or whatever it is you give them. And so that's like a slap in the face to God, if you ask me. And yet, here we are. Job's love for God is called into question. He's saying, Job, if you take away all that, blessing, all the money, all the protections, all the ways you've taken care of him, he's not in it for you, God. He's in it for that. And so take it away. See if he still will remain connected to you, if your relationship survives it. And so I don't know. I just have to tell you, I feel anger when I think about this. But I also know that there are a number of times that our love for God does get put to the test. And one of the things that comes to mind for me is my daughter Grace when she was a baby, a little bitty baby. So my husband and I had overcome some, really tough times, and God had really pulled us through. It was just a beautiful, miraculous, God-filled, testimony in the making. And then we get blessed with this baby Grace, and we name her that for a reason, unmerited favor, and so she's just precious. I mean, it was an easy delivery, easy pregnancy for the most part, and she's sweet little baby. She's not hard. Not high maintenance. Well, she's kind of high maintenance, but anyway, she's my precious little baby girl. And at about 7.5 months old, she got croup in the middle of the night. And I wake up and I hear her, and I can't, and she's having a very difficult time breathing. And our son, who's older, had the same thing, very scary thing. And so I knew a thing or two about how to respond. So I take her to the bathroom, turn on the shower, and get the steam going so that she's getting that moisture, and it should help her breathe. And then I need to calm her down because all that anxiety makes it even worse. So I start to nurse her. And so I've got the steam going, I'm nursing her, and then I call the triage nurse at the local hospital, and she is talking to me. She says, "You're doing the right thing," and I'm like, "Christian, wake up, please come help." And he comes and helps, and and then the nurse says, you're doing the right thing. Stay right where you're at. Stay in the bathroom with the shower going. Keep her calm. And I've got an ambulance on the way. And so an ambulance arrives, and the paramedics, they come, they get Grace, or actually they look at Grace and they say, we're going to take her to the hospital, and Mom, we're going to have Dad come in the ambulance with us, not you. And I'm thinking, I've always been very calm under pressure, and I thought I was being calm, but they could see in my eyes the terror of losing my daughter. And I guess, that had not yet set in on Christian because he'd just woken up. And so they leave in the ambulance, and I'm in the car behind them driving to the hospital, and I start talking to God about why would this happen? How could this happen? Please, God, don't take my daughter. She's my gift from you. You blessed us with this precious girl, and I don't know what I would do. I would be so just angry about that. I just can't lose her. I can't lose her. I love her so much. My life is entangled in this person. I love her so much. And yet I realized, but if I did lose her, please stay with me. Don't disconnect me. If you cut off my relationship with my daughter, do not cut off my relationship with you, because I could never survive without you. And it occurred to me how my priorities were after that. I thought, I need God more than I need my daughter. And I don't think I would, my life would, I wouldn't live without my relationship with God. I just don't think I would have lived. And yet I didn't want to live without my daughter. So it was a really interesting moment and an intense moment, but it was one that showed where my heart was in relationship to God. And it also, I think, happens a few times in our lives that those things occur. It happened, with my son, Wesley. I had a moment like that. And I hope I don't have more moments like that. But if I do, my prayer is that I would be found faithful, that I would not disconnect from God, no matter what the test. And then I'd like to, commend those of you who have had your faith put to the test, and that you've come out on the other side with a relationship with God, and say, the world's a better place because we stay connected and you stay connected. And then if there's any of you who haven't, maybe you went through a difficult time and you did disconnect or in some way curse God. God is an amazing God. He is very forgiving, and He sent His Son to bridge the gap, and He will forgive. There was a time where I said, no, God, you are dead to me. I am done. You have taken, you've taken my family, you've torn it apart, and I'm not going to believe in you any longer. And of course, listen to me as I'm saying that to him. I'm saying, I'm not going to believe in you any longer, meaning I do. I was just really angry. So I encourage you, if you have a relationship with God Almighty and it's put to the test, be faithful. And that doesn't mean that you won't hurt, that things might not happen. It just means don't disconnect. God can take you through all the things that you go through. And if you have in some way disconnected from God, it's not too late to reconnect. I would ask for that, and God gives. So those are my thoughts today as I sit with those verses. Hope that it blesses you.